4th meeting of the Lake County Board of Commissioners. Would all those who are willing and able please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of our country.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Grant us, O Lord, light to our understanding, prudence in our investigating, foresight in our planning, sincerity in our deliberating, the grace to follow truth in our judgment. Help us to be moved in our decision neither by fear nor by self-interest, and to do our work faithfully. May we respect the authority vested in us, for thou art the source of all authority, and may use in our directives for the good, common good, and for thy honor and glory. Amen. Thank you. Thanks. Okay, Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Regovich.
Here.
Commissioner Plechnik.
Present.
Commissioner Hammercheck.
Here. Okay, we have a oath of office to be giving here for the Ohio Soil and Water Conservation Commission. Jared, would you please come forward and join me? Say aye, pronounce your name in full, and repeat after me.
I, Jared Spring,
Do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear and affirm
that I will,
that I will,
to the best of my ability,
to the best of my ability,
faithfully discharge the duties
faithfully discharge the duties
of Supervisor of
Supervisor of
Lake County Soil and Water Conservation District,
Lake County Soil and Water Conservation District,
to which I have been elected or appointed,
to which I have been elected or appointed,
and preserve, protect,
protect,
and defend the Constitution of Ohio,
go again,
and defend
And
the
defend
Constitution
the Constitution
of Ohio,
and
and the United States
the United States
of America.
of America.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Welcome aboard. And nothing's official until you sign and notarize things, so.
And he reads the Constitution.
Okay, sir. Come on.
So I just wanted to.
Oh, microphone.
Microphone.
For a viewing audience.
Sure. I just wanted to I'm Dan Donaldson from the Soil and Water District and Conservation District. I just want to let everybody know that these are publicly elected positions. We hold an election with Lake County landowners every year. This is a 3-year voluntary term, and these Soil and Water Conservation District supervisors are the ones that really direct the local conservation projects in the county. Many of these folks serve multiple terms, and they're really kind of the lifeblood of the environmental and conservation movement in the county here. So we appreciate Jared very much volunteering his time for at least 3 years. Thanks.
Well done. Thank you, sir. Welcome aboard. Okay, Commissioner Regovich has asked to have a slight departure from our regularly scheduled agenda. Commissioner Regovich.
Thank you. I move to rescind the resolution to increase the rate of the sales tax and the use tax by 0.5% for the benefit of the general fund for the Lake County, Ohio, pursuant to Ohio Revised Code Section 5739.026 and Ohio Revised Code Section 5741.023, adopted by this board on January 12th, 2023.
I'll second that. Discussion.
Mr. President,
Sir.
to explain my actions here today, I believe it was the right decision for me to make, but it's a complicated issue. I spent a lot of time in the previous weeks meeting people, attending gatherings, attending council meetings. After much discussion, most people understand the immediate need for safety in Lake County. However, this occurs only after hours of explanation and discussion. it would be difficult to talk with close to 2,000 people on this. My priority is still to work with my fellow commissioners and find a solution that works best for the county. We need to take care of our people who provide our safety first, and that's what I intend to do.
Very good. Commissioner Plotchnik, anything you wish to add, sir?
Mr. President, I'm grateful that you both recognize that this is not the right time to raise taxes, and while this is a difficult decision to be made, it's the right decision for Lake County. This is the first that I'm hearing of this, and I'm grateful that after listening to many thousands of residents who've reached out to us in many different forms, that we represent them, and two people should not make a decision for $232,000. It was not possible to talk to that many people. I agree with Commissioner Regovich on that point, to hear their input, but now that we've heard them, I'm grateful that we are doing their work and their will, and I am thrilled to vote yes to rescind this tax increase.
Please forgive my silence as I collect my thoughts. If there's no further discussion, Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Regovich.
Yes.
Commissioner Plechnik.
Yes.
Commissioner Hammercheck.
Yes, thank you. Madam Clerk, please start the floor. Moving on, first public comment section. Is there anyone wishing to address the board at this time? Anyone in our audience? Anyone in our audience? Sir.
Well, first off,
I'm sorry.
what I came to say, I don't need to say.
Your name and address for the record.
Oh, my name is Elliot Pilarczyk. I live in Painesville, Ohio. But what I came to say, I don't need to say. I am proud that you've saw and finally listened and heard the people and followed what the people say. We are here to follow the people, not as much as I protect our sheriff and our prosecutor. They are not our elected representatives to make decisions on taxes. And just as John Hammercheck had said back in 2012, when you ran for office, insisted the hike was a surprise, that sales tax that was done at that time, and you accused all of his
Sir, can I
depleting.
interrupt you and put this in context? My comments at that time in place were that the severity of the financial situation of the county is what was the surprise. If I may have the pleasure of putting this in context, I grow tired of having things taken out of context, being misrepresented 10 to 12 years later. So if I may keep things in context, sir, I will thank you if you do the same. Thank you. Please continue.
Okay, I wasn't there, so I wasn't sure of any other context, but just say that you...
So you're reporting on something that you do not have knowledge of. Thank you for pointing that out, sir.
I was not there, sir, but you had mentioned that you would repeal the tax at that time. Did you not say that?
I don't have recollection of that. I'm giving things in context. Now you're asking me from something from 2012.
That's fine. I'll leave it go, but I appreciate,
Thank you, sir.
I appreciate what you've done this morning, all three of you. And I look forward to it, and I know that you will work hard to solve the issue with the jail. I know that you will work hard to solve the issue with pay to our prosecutors and our attorneys that protect us and our police officers, and I thank you for that.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate your comments. Anyone else wishing to address the board? Yes, ma'am. Sorry, she was Johnny on the spot, quick, lightning fast. Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning, I'm Kathy McAdams. I live at 9730 Yellowwood Drive in Concord Township, and well, I had something to say, and I was going to say exactly what I said on December 27th when I was here, but I don't need to now. I want to thank Mr. Regovich for having the clarity of mind to change his mind about the taxes, and because I was made aware of another tax just this morning when I went to go do the transfer on death designation for my home. I want to protect my son so he doesn't have to pay ungodly estate taxes. Did you know for 3 lousy pages, of which I have to do most of the work, it's going to cost me $42 to have this filed with the recorder's office. I just want to let you know that this stuff is ridiculous. But again, thank you for changing your mind. Thank you for presenting that resolution. And I hope you all have a great day. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate your comments. Ma'am, I believe you're next. Good morning.
Good morning. I am Lindsay Wall, 7250 Beechwood Drive in Mentor. Obviously, along with the other people who got up to speak, what I had written to say is now not necessarily needed. I do, however, want to thank you for this decision, for rescinding this. I do feel that it is not the appropriate time to increase the sales tax, obviously, along with majority of the community. I would also like to thank you because I think without an intention of doing so, something you've done in this community throughout Lake County, which I'm very glad I got to be a part of and witness over the last 2 weeks, was watching all of Lake County come together, red, blue, left, right, purple, orange, indigo. Everyone came together and worked together as one county, one community, and rallied around the Let Us Vote group that had the petition circulating. So I don't feel that that was your intention, but I will tell you it was incredible to watch, especially after an election that was so extremely divided. I also do want to just point out that our efforts with the petition that we were circulating had no indication of our support and respect for the sheriff's office and the things that he was requesting. I do think after speaking with a lot of the community that there's many people throughout Lake County that agree with the sheriff that the things he was asking for are actually needed. And I hope that we can find a way to help the sheriff's office and the prosecutor get the things that are needed to make our county safer. However, I will say this, I sympathize with the sheriff because I feel as though in this process of passing the resolution for the sales tax increase, I think a lot of our county was upset by the lack of transparency and the lack of information that was put forth in these meetings. I think that what should have happened to let the community know what really was needed from the sheriff or for the sheriff, instead of asking him to come up and speak, I wish that you guys would have spoke on his behalf. I wish that you would have advocated for the things that were needed more and been more transparent about that instead of asking him and the prosecutor to come up and speak and explain all of those things. It was nice to hear from the sheriff and it was nice to hear from the prosecutor. However, I think that in your role, it would have been better for the community to hear it come from our leaders, our elected officials, to explain all of those things. So maybe moving forward, we can hopefully be more transparent, open, and communicate more. Now that we are all aware of what it is the sheriff's office needs and what the prosecutor is hoping for, we can work together to find a solution that is not just good for them, but benefits the whole community. So thank you again.
Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate your comments. Anyone else wishing to address the board? Sir.
John Music, 45 Coventry Drive. I just wanted to say that you imagine how many people would be here if we didn't have law and order in this county? How many people would be speaking up? And I'm asking you to find a way to give our sheriff, our prosecutor's office, and our judicial system what they need. That would be at least, and I've said this for a long time, the least have a least effect on the taxpayers and people of Lake County. But like I said, there are many places in this country that don't have law and order. And people have to realize this, that it could happen to us any day. And the things that are going on in our country right now, I think it'd be foolish to say, oh, it'll never happen here, it'll happen over there, but it won't happen in here. So, like I said, I want to stress we need to give the three departments whatever they need to do their job. Somehow find a way that'll be,
It's more than 3 departments, sir.
That's what I said. Well, I'm just saying at this point. But the thing about it, well, okay, if you said it's more than 3 departments, what else would it be then?
We have 7 courts, sir. We have a coroner.
I know that.
We have an emergency management agency. They're
I know
all
that.
part of our public safety.
I know that, I understand
You just
that
said 3
totally.
departments. I can't
Yep.
fund just the prosecutor's office. I also have to fund the public defender. That is by law. So that's 2 departments.
Right.
The sheriff's. John, this is beyond the scope of having this, and we're not going to get into a debate, but if you say it's only 3 departments, you need to understand there's a tremendous scope here. What we're being asked to do is going to be incredibly challenging. I just want you to be clear on that. I appreciate your comments. Thank you, sir.
Well, only thing I have to say also, the thing about it is, we the people are out here and we do know a lot. Like I said, my first commissioner meeting was 2005. I've heard a lot and said a lot over the years. And I'm not just this level, may it be in DC, I speak in DC, I go to Columbus and speak, and we only hear segments. Let's look at the big picture of what's going on. And the thing about it is, yes, I know there are various segments of law enforcement. I understand that totally. But the thing about it is, we've got to never, ever say it'll never happen here. So that's all I'm saying is, I'm asking the 3 of you to find a way to give them what they need to do their job and to protect the citizens of Lake County. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else wishing to address the board at this time? Anyone else? Sir. Good morning.
Good morning. My name is Frank Saponsic, 7295 Waterfowl Way, Concord Township. I'm not here because was for a 50% increase, against a 50% increase, for no increase, against no increase. Like many people, the one common issue that I bring forward to all of you is I think the messaging at this point has left a lot to be desired. In the next couple days, I'm going to be sending a document request list because I'd like to understand the logic behind the need as well as your respective solutions to that need. And I understand that there are 2 diverse opinions with regard to how to solve the problem, assuming that everybody is on the same page with quantifying the problem. And if that's done, what I don't understand is how there could be such a diverse opinion. And as a result, I need to understand from Commissioner Regovich and Hamercheck, this is the need, this is the annual deficit, this is the increase that we're looking for in order to accommodate and satisfy that deficit. Commissioner Plechnik, same thing, only a little bit reverse. I want to understand, all right, you said that we didn't need a increase. I respect that. How are you going to financially meet the need that everybody has agreed upon without the increase? Whether or not it's carryover fund balance, whatever it may be. I think that's the problem that people don't understand, and that's what I would like to understand is 2 different opinions. I'm not saying that there aren't 2 different ways to solve a problem. I don't understand, and I'm sure a lot of other people don't understand. So I'll be sending a document request list, a public records request for whatever records exist with regard to what you have relied upon in the respective positions that you've taken. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else wishing to address the board? Do we have anyone else in the audience wishing to address the board? Seeing none, moving on. Madam Clerk, first agenda item, please.
In the Utilities Department, resolution certifying unpaid water and sewer sums and administrative charges to the Lake County Auditor.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion? None being heard. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Regovich.
Yes.
Commissioner Plechnik.
Yes.
Commissioner Hamercheck.
Yes.
In the Commissioner's Office, resolution revising the Lake County Board of Commissioners regular meeting schedule.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion? None being heard. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Regovich.
Yes.
Commissioner Plechnik.
Yes.
Commissioner Hamercheck.
Yes.
In the Finance Department, resolution approving payment of bills as listed on the Commissioner's Approval Journal in the amount of $844,595.26.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion? None being heard. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Regovich.
Yes.
Commissioner Plechnik.
Yes.
Commissioner Hamercheck.
Yes.
Resolution approving purchase orders as listed on the Commissioner's Purchase Order Approval Journal in the amount of $7,181,652.30.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion? None being heard. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Regovich.
Yes.
Commissioner Plechnik.
Yes.
Commissioner Hammercheck.
Yes.
Resolution increasing appropriations for various general and non-general fund accounts.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion? None being heard. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Regovich.
Yes.
Commissioner Plechnik.
Yes.
Commissioner Hammercheck.
Yes.
Resolution transferring cash within a general and non-general fund account.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion? None being heard. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Regovich.
Yes.
Commissioner Plechnik.
Yes.
Commissioner Hammercheck.
Yes. Very good. Moving on to departmental reports. Utilities. Gary, I believe you also have 3 PowerPoint slides.
Good morning, Commissioners. I just wanted to briefly report on the landfill, put a little bit of spotlight on that area also. We spent a lot of our time in the past talking about water and sewer, so try to put in the landfill on this one. We have a few photos I'm going to walk you through about the newly expanded landfill, or is what we call a cell. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that, but what you're looking at here is the new project that we recently completed. This is the lining that's under the trash, that gets placed under the trash. This is about a 6-acre site that we recently completed. To put that in perspective, that would be about 6 or 7 football fields that's constructed and ready to go for future use. We currently still have plenty of capacity where we're working now and the activities of the landfill that are currently in place. This is for future use, and wanted to just take a moment to thank some of the people that have been involved and wrap up this report. But obviously we've had Dennis Yurkovich in the engineering group was instrumental to getting this project completed. Tim Gurley and his staff at the landfill were also instrumental. We had a variety of consultants that helped us along the way. And then lastly, Miller Brothers was the contractor that actually constructed the cell. So we have the aerial view and the side view, and it's probably the largest swimming pool that we have in Lake County at this point, but at some point we will be filling this area and continue to plan for the future of the landfill. That concludes my report. Thank you.
Can we do a polar bear plunge and sell tickets?
It depends on who's volunteering, but yes would be the answer.
Take a big slip and slide.
Yeah, there you go. Anything for Gary? Thank you. Moving on, Job and Family Services.
Good morning, Commissioners. Today I wanted to share that Job and Family Services, in collaboration with Lake County Family and Children First Council, has made the decision to once again sponsor the Back to School Bash. This is a large-scale event that typically happens the first Saturday in August. This event has been on hold for the last couple of years due to the COVID-19 pandemic. But we did make a decision this week to bring the event back. It's held at Harvey High School. It's open to all Lake County residents. Planning for this event typically starts in January with many of our community partners. There's usually about 25 to 30 agencies that really help us plan the event. So we're very excited to bring it back over the next several months. I will be sharing more information about the services that's provided at this event. We usually serve about 2,500 students and their families and offer a variety of services. So very positive news for our community that we are able to hold the event again this year. More to come. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Anything for Job and Family Services? Very good. All right, moving on, County Administrator.
Good morning, Commissioners. Just a couple quick funding updates. Director Matus and I have completed the paperwork for the additional ARPA funds of $100,000 that'll be available, $50,000 this year, $50,000 in calendar year 2024. Commissioner Hammercheck had the authorization signed earlier this week, so I appreciate you signing that. I think we'll be able to use that funds in a very flexible manner. Once we receive the funds, I'll sit down with the commissioners. Obviously we have a working list of existing potential ARPA projects, but this may give us the flexibility to do some additional things throughout the county. Secondly, in the Planning and Community Development Office, they've also been awarded $1.6 million in ARPA home funds. There is a community survey out right now for stakeholders, local officials, etc. If you go to the Lake County Planning Office of Planning and Community Development website, there's links there. It's open until January the 30th. The ARPA home funds are those looking at housing issues for those on the low to moderate income scale, some of our homeless issues throughout the county. I did a brief presentation Monday at Mayors and Managers talking about the homeless issue, not only in Lake County, but throughout the country, that we are beginning to see. It's not just a Painesville, Ohio problem, it's a county problem. And looking at collective collaborative efforts, how we can effectively work with our nonprofits and community leaders, police departments, et cetera, to address this over the long term. So I'll continue to brief the board as those efforts proceed down the road. So thank you.
Very good, thank you. Anything for Administrator? Thank you, sir. All right, Madam Clerk.
Yes, I wanted to mention that the next regular Commissioners meeting is going to be on Thursday, February 2nd at 10 a.m. And also, I wanted to mention that the revision of the Commissioner meeting schedule is the meeting that is scheduled for Thursday, February 16th at 10 a.m. is canceled, and we are adding a meeting on Tuesday, February 14th at 2 p.m. that week. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Anything for our clerk? Thank you. Legal.
No reports, Commissioner.
Thank you, sir. All right, this brings us to our old business portion of the meeting. Do we have any old business? Hearing none, moving on to new business. Do we have any new business? If not, I do. Did have a meeting of the State Interoperability Executive Committee, also commonly referred to as SEIC. If I could just read our report. Lake County is continuing to work on encryption for all public safety radios. This encompasses over 1,600 subscriber units. In order to do this, we are seeking a grant, but this will only pay for the firmware. The Lake County Telecommunications Department has agreed to install the encryption in the radios and consoles at no cost to police and fire departments. We choose to do this because it is the only way that we can achieve this in a relatively near future. And we do see it as the right thing to do. Lake County continues to explore new recording equipment for all the radio traffic at Central Dispatch. Lake County has received new radios for the sheriff, utilities, telecommunications, engineers, and other departments, and will be putting those into service in the near future. Fire station alerting is becoming a big issue here in Lake County. The current system is very expensive, and maintaining it is proving to be a challenge. We are exploring other options. Central Dispatch will be switching their CAD, which is computer-aided dispatch system, in the next 8 months, and the integration with fire station alerting will surely be a challenge as well. Lake County is also planning the migration to next generation 911. Hopefully our legislature will see fit to assist us in the finances of that. That's all I have for that report that was presented. There were some other reports at that meeting that are of, I believe, community interest. There is a growing occurrence in the state of Ohio of something called swatting. That's basically where people are making false reports of serious incidents that law enforcement and EMS and fire services respond to. One of the calls to the group was to pass on, we do need to continue practicing response to actual calls as well as false calls. One of the things that was really emphasized were school radios, particularly the Marks radios. Although those are state-owned, there are apparently challenges with school districts not keeping them updated and in service. They just sort of sit there. They arrive out of the box and they sit in a charger endlessly. So, and there are basically 4 programmers for the entire state of Ohio, so there is some need for schools to actually make sure the radio works. Radio authentication, as you've heard me talk, has become and continues to be a serious problem where there are fake radios getting into our public safety systems. Fortunately, Lake County is one of the more diligent counties. However, we are not invulnerable to this type of activity. Something else of interest, there are new regulations on the federal level for detecting fatigue with our telecommunicators. Commonly referred to as dispatchers, but it's not appropriate to call them dispatchers these days because of the workload that they have to do. They aren't just answering a phone and pushing a radio button. They are taking care of the lives of the people on the other end of that phone and the other end of that radio. And they are having to process text messages and video and a whole bunch of other stuff coming through. It can indeed be overwhelming. However, those regulations also come with no funding. But we also care for our people here. Wireless 911 continues to be an issue. There is inadequate funding and Lake County Central Dispatch is the receiving public safety answering point for all wireless calls of 911 in Lake County. This is a growing problem, and something else of interest, the federal government is working with the Canadian government regarding licensing issues. The FCC and the Canadian version of the FCC are continuing to wrestle with exactly who has jurisdiction over what harmful interference is a problem, and normal licensing, which would take months, is now taking years. This does directly affect Lake County, as we are north of what is called the A line. That is the line of demarcation where the Canadian government actually also has jurisdiction over our radio communications. Those are the highlights from other members participating. If there's any questions, I'll be happy to answer them. Else, I will entertain if there's any other new business.
I can speak to the telecommunicators. I spent much time in the dispatch area of our police department, Willock, and the amount of calls are at record high throughout the county, throughout the United States, I'm sure. And the calls they get, some are mundane, but when a real emergency happens, you see true professionals step up and get the job done, and it's a coordinated effort that you cannot believe unless you see it firsthand.
Agreed, and as a mayor and I believe public safety director,
yes,
that gives you unique insight into the boots on the ground, if you will, on the forward-facing folks. All right, if there's no other new business.
Mr. President?
Sir.
2 items. First, I'd like to wish the chairman of our Board of Elections, Dale Fellows, a very happy birthday. I won't say how old, but in the last 200 years, he's done a lot of good for Lake County. Even before we were founded 183 years prior. And second, I want to let folks know that one of our local businesses, Revolution Pizza, located in both Willowick and Mentor, is doing a fundraiser today from 11 to 9 p.m. You might have seen the News 3 story or the News Herald article about Janae Johnson, who was stranded in a blizzard back in December of last year and suffered frostbite and many other injuries from the cold. This is a fundraiser for her recovery. Our treasurer, Mike Zurin, I know Councilman Charlie Malta of Willowick are very involved. And if you buy a pizza from Revolution Pizza today, they'll donate 25% of the proceeds to her recovery. So, God bless you for supporting Janae. And if you can get out and get a pizza, it would make a big difference for her family. I first heard about it through one of my father's friends who knows her mother very well. And the family really does need your help.
Thank you. Any other new business? Any other new business? All right, moving on to our second public comment. Is there anyone in the audience wishing to address the board? Is there anyone else in the audience? See, I will still continue to pull your leg, Mr. Massey. Come on up, sir.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Brian Massey, 8196 Rainbow Drive, lobbyist for citizens. First, thank you very much for the rescinding of the sales tax. I have 2 items. I get calls from citizens in Lake County asking me, some questions. I just don't know the answer to everything, so I said I'm going to ask the commissioners about this. So these are not necessarily my questions, but trying to relate to you so that I can give the information back to the taxpayers. There was something happening in Madison Township, not Lake County, but in Perry County, which is in southwest Ohio. The Ohio Environmental Protection Agency has turned this area into sewage dumping ground for several states. Earlier this year, a Cleveland-based energy company called Quasar purchased a permit from the Ohio EPA to construct a biosolid lagoon. This is where solid sewage waste goes to rest for the remainder of their days. Without proper zoning laws specifically prohibiting such structures, all Quasar, other companies called Reenergy and Dovetail, all they have to do is get a permit from the EPA itself. And I asked, well, what goes into these biosolid lagoons? And I was told anything flushing down a toilet. So what really is sort of concerning is that farmers across the state are also enticed by the promise of free or cheap fertilizer, and the biosolid material is sprayed on crops as fertilizer. So my question to the commissioners, are you aware of anything like that, going on in Lake County?
Yeah, we're building one just up the street from you in Concord there in the valley behind your house. You know, one of those black helicopters where you were reporting a few months ago that were looking for gas leaks?
They've ceased, and the helicopters have ceased. It's amazing.
We've redeployed them.
Thank you very much. So I take it that there's nothing going on in Lake County related to this.
You just heard our utility.
Yeah, it was interesting that he talked about that I'm... maybe I'll talk to the utilities to see if they can give me some more information so that I can at least sound like I know what I'm doing about when I'm talking about this. So I can tell that Lake County, we're not using that as fertilizer on our crops.
I have no control over the Ohio EPA or the federal EPA. Let me be abundantly clear on that.
Okay.
So if they really are putting something behind your house, you're going to have to fight that one, brother. I'll be there with you, but I say that tongue firmly planted in cheek.
Okay.
I am not aware of any such solicitations.
Okay, I appreciate it very much. The other item is, I think I know the answer, but I'm said that I'd ask the question. Can any Lake County officials, can they bid on any government contracts? I mean, if they've got a business at all, or is that prohibited by law?
I'm going to look to legal because that's not a...
What exactly is the question?
I would say that if an elected official has a business in addition to their elected office, can they bid on any governmental contracts at all? I wouldn't think so, but I'm not absolutely sure.
I don't like answering hypotheticals.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah.
No.
Okay,
that's an ethics issue.
Yeah, I thought that was probably answered, but I said I would ask the question.
But there is a test associated with that, just to be clear, so I don't want you thinking you got your answers no, and it's a blanket no. Looking at legal, there is a test. I believe it's a 3-part test.
Which test are you referring to?
We're talking about conflicts of interest, that type of...
Well, there's conflicts of interest. Yes, that is part of the issue.
I've learned to not take things at face value. You'll forgive me if I...
Do I put that into a definite maybe category, or is that a maybe?
It's all conditional, sir.
It's all circumstantial. That's a very broad question.
Right.
That does require research. We need more specifics.
Okay.
So
if I can get some specifics, may I bring it before the...
Please, feel free.
Thank you very much. I do appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Okay, anyone else wishing to address the board at this time? Anyone else? Any other takers? Okay, moving on, we do have a request for executive session. There will be no business to be conducted afterwards. The topic will be personnel collective bargaining. Do I have a motion to adjourn for the reason so stated?
Move to approve.
Second.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Regovich?
Yes.
Commissioner Plechnik?
Yes.
Commissioner Hammercheck?
Yes. Thank you for joining us today.